Before we begin the business of our today's official meeting, I wish to express and make an opening statement to reflect the views of our commission members. Our commission members condemn, as has the international community, this unjustified Russian invasion and war against Ukraine and its people. We stand with and support Ukraine. We hope that this war and senseless loss of life and the destruction of property will end soon. We hope that peace and the integrity of Ukrainian lands, its sovereignty, and the safety of its people, and the freedom of all of its citizens will be restored. We hope that our commission will soon be able to return to our home office in Kiev to complete our work. Until these things occur, our commission and its members will resume our work remotely. We have gathered together in Warsaw, Poland, to demonstrate our commitment to the continuation of our commission's work in support of judicial reform in Ukraine and to restore the confidence of the Ukrainian people in achieving full access to justice and the rule of law for all. We commission members have chosen to meet and have this official recommencement meeting in Warsaw, Poland, in order to recognize the important contribution Poland has made to support the citizens of Ukraine who have been displaced as a result of the Russian war. Poland has opened its borders, and the people of Poland have opened their hearts and their homes to support Ukraine and its people. Let's now proceed to the business of our meeting. On behalf of all of the 6 members of our commission, I welcome you as observers to our 3rd publicly broadcast meeting today. I welcome particularly the judges, the lawyers, and the academics watching. If you are eligible to be appointed according to the law of Ukraine on the judiciary and the status of judges, I ask you to consider serving your fellow citizens of Ukraine by applying to be considered for appointment to the High Qualification Commission of Judges, particularly in these difficult times for Ukraine. I and my colleagues promise you that the competition will be a merit-based appointment process. We will recommend appointment by the High Council of Justice only of persons of high integrity and professional competency as defined and required by Article 95 of the law. We will not recommend candidates for who they know, but for what they know. We will not recommend persons who will appoint judges to serve themselves, but who are dedicated to serve the people of Ukraine. We will recommend persons of the highest integrity, not the highest influence. In addition to the judges, lawyers, and academics watching, I wish to welcome our audience and recognize the valuable contribution and support that we have and continue to receive from Ukraine's civil society. These organizations include many: ANTAC, De Jure, Automaidan, the Ukrainian Bar Associations, the Council and Congress of Judges, the Secretary and Secretariat of the High Council of Justice and the High Qualification Commission of Judges, to name just a few. We commission members thank you for your assistance and continuing support. When we speak of support, we wish to welcome viewers and the support and encouragement in this process that we receive with respect to the judicial and institutional reform from the international community of donors. Without their support, we would be unable to perform our work. We welcome as viewers our secretariat. We have some 12 to 14 lawyers and legal analysts who are working for us and supporting the work of our commission. We welcome them and thank them for their commitment and dedication to our work. Lastly, and most importantly, I welcome viewers who are citizens of Ukraine. It is for you, the people of Ukraine, that this most important process of judicial reform is undertaken. It is our sincere hope and determination that this reform will succeed in leading to the fulfillment of vacancies of the courts of Ukraine by judges dedicated to the rule of law and the principles of fairness, integrity, impartiality, and independence. We hope that this reform will support Ukraine in satisfying an important condition for Ukraine's admission to the European Union. With those words of welcome and introduction, I now propose to introduce you to the Commission members more fully, and I have requested that they do so themselves, and I will begin. My name, as I mentioned at the outset, is Ted Zarzechny. I am a retired Superior Court judge from Canada. I have had the privilege of being involved in Ukraine since 2011 on behalf of Canadian Programs for the Education of the Judiciary. In 2017 and 2018, I was appointed to the International Commission and became Vice Chairman of the Commission to assist the High Qualification Commission of Judges for the appointment of judges to the High Anti-Corruption Courts of Ukraine, some 39 members. Since that time, I have been a member of the Selection Commission and have now been invited to chair that commission, and I've already explained to you our work. From that, I will now turn the introduction over to the Vice Chairman of our Selection Commission, Justice Ivan Mischenko.
Thank you, Ted. So, dear colleagues, we are happy to welcome all of you. Our commission is here again. We have resumed our work, and probably it's not a secret that very soon we are going to announce the restart of the selection process. Definitely, war has introduced its changes into the deadlines for the selection and some other procedural changes, and we will cover them in detail a bit later. War has really changed a lot. For the first time over 4.5 months, I have changed my military uniform for the form which used to be something customary for me in my peaceful life, the suit and tie. That is because this reform was supposed to be very important, and the establishment of the new High Qualifications Commission used to be very important even before the war in peaceful times. But now it has gained even more importance because a work of our Commission is mentioned as one of the preconditions for Ukraine's accession to the EU. So on my behalf and on behalf of my colleagues from the Selection Commission, let me assure you that we will really do our best for this selection process to be of high quality, for it to happen quickly in spite of the tough circumstances, unexpected circumstances, and we will do this at the highest professional level that we will be able to ensure. Thanks a lot to all of you. Please join us in this process. Apply for the selection process, and let me give the floor to Robert Brookhuizen.
Thank you, Ivan. I will just briefly introduce myself. I'm the EU citizen in this commission. I come from the Netherlands. I am an attorney specialized in corruption and fraud, and I'm a former corruption and fraud prosecutor. And I will now give the mic to Yevgen Mietsensev, who will introduce himself as well.
Thank you, Robert. Well, we are well acquainted with most of the audience members. I'm Yevhen Mietsensev. I'm the judge of the 6th Appellate Administrative Court, and over my work career, I was lucky to hold different administrative positions in the judiciary, and I worked in the Council of Judges of Ukraine, so I think that my experience will be relevant for the work of this commission. We have really worked with our internal documents and the rules for the selection procedure for them to meet the challenges that Ukraine is facing now and we are facing now. We've got several options for our further work. They are under development now, and I think that in spite of all the complexities and challenges Ukraine is now facing, we will manage to cover this path decently, and I've got only positive expectations from our future work. Thank you. And let me give the floor to the other side of our long table. Let us give the floor to Stephen Markman.
Thank you very much. I'm Stephen Markman, and it's an honor to serve with my 5 colleagues on the Selection Commission of Ukraine. I'm a citizen of the United States, and I practiced law for nearly 50 years, for a long time as a judge, for a long time as a prosecutor, and for a long time as a professor of the law. My purpose in serving on the Commission is simple. It is to contribute to the elevation of the judiciary of Ukraine so that it can be made comparable to any other judiciary of the world, so that Ukraine will be enabled to determine its own place within the international community as it alone chooses. The role of the Selection Commission, as my colleagues have indicated, is to play a decisive part in selecting the 16 persons who will be the incorruptible custodians of an incorruptible judiciary. I thank the people of Ukraine for the opportunity to serve. I am appreciative of my colleagues for our common sense of purpose, and I thank all of those who will step forward to participate in our competition on behalf of the future of their country. As with all others on this commission, I am in solidarity with the people of Ukraine in their desire for judicial reform, as I am, of course, in the fullest solidarity in all other matters that are critical to the best future of Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Welcome to everyone. I'm Serhiy Verlanov. I'm the judge of Kyiv Appellate Court. We are deeply convinced that in this period, our duty is to restart the selection process for the judges of the High Qualifications Commission following the principles of impartiality, professionality, objectiveness, and integrity. On the basis of the results of our work, we have to select 32 candidates who have got a background in the field of law and justice no less than 15 years, and who have to meet the principles of integrity and professional competence. And thanks to our fruitful work, we will ensure progress in the reform of the judiciary and will fulfill one of the requirements set for the accession of Ukraine to the EU. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. Well, to our viewers, I think they now have a better understanding of who we are as a commission, what our goals and hopes are for our work and the qualifications that they bring. At our first official meeting, I attempted to make a calculation of what, not as individuals, but all 6 of us collectively bring to this process of the Selection Commission. You may be interested in knowing that we members of the Selection Commission in total have approximately 210 years' experience in the law. We hope to apply the knowledge, experience that we have gained over collectively that period of time to the important work that we have. Now, to the formal portion of the meeting. There's always important business to be done. We hope that you will stay with us while we conduct that business. First of all, colleagues, I present a motion to you. You have before you the agenda for this meeting, and I make a motion that we approve the agenda of the meeting as written. All in favor? May I see your hands? Against? None. Unanimously approved. The next item of business is the introduction of a resolution to end the suspension and approve the continuation of the Selection Commission operations. I will turn to Justice Ms. Jenko, our Deputy Chairman, to present that resolution.
Дякую, пане голово.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, so dear colleagues, I'm making a motion to cancel the temporary suspension of the work of the Selection Commission and approval of restart of our work.
Продовжуємо працювати.
Let us continue our work. Let's vote. Хто за продовження роботи і за те, щоб
Unanimously approved. The next item is the resolution to amend the Selection Commission's rules of procedure. It is no secret to any of us that the current circumstances are unusual and present some emergency conditions. As a result, we have been working to review our rules of procedure and to address the necessary changes. With that bit of an introduction, I will turn the floor over to Justice Markman to lead that discussion and then the resolution.
Thank you, Judge Zeshny. The Commission has issued a number of emergency and transitional rules to reflect the present needs and circumstances of the Commission and its work. Mostly, these rules are designed to ensure that we can address what might otherwise be obstacles under our existing rules and procedure. Some of these have to do with what must be considered at official meetings. Others have to do with where we are allowed to meet. Obviously, today we are meeting outside of Ukraine, and that would not be permissible under our rules or regulations as a general matter. And there are other changes that have to do with our deadlines and timetables that are the subject of these emergency and transitional rules. The purpose of this is to allow us flexibility and discretion to do what's necessary to continue the work of the Commission in its competitive selection process during this difficult time. One very straightforward proposition in these new rules is that if you've applied to the Commission when it was previously open in January and February of this year, your application remains good. You need not reapply. Your application may be required in some respects to be supplemented or updated, but what you have already filed constitutes a fully legitimate application to participate. No new application is required, and we thank you for your involvement thus far. Far more important is what has been retained in our competition, what has been retained in our rules and procedures and methodology. First, the methodology has been kept intact. That is, the standards of integrity and professional competency that define the selection process have been preserved. These standards, I believe, are well explained within our methodology and lie at the heart of our process. Second, the standards of fairness and due process, the policies of openness and transparency, the premises that we will not seek to surprise or to embarrass an applicant in any way, all these are maintained. And third, your personal histories and stumbles, if they've occurred, will all be placed in context, for we recognize that none of us is without flaws. But it will always be your burden and obligation to demonstrate that you meet the standards of the methodology and the competition, and that you will make your country proud if you are selected for service on the High Qualification Commission. At this point, I would like to introduce my colleague on the commission, Judge Volanov, who will speak to the selection regulations. But before I do that, could I please move for the adoption of the amendments to the rules of procedures on the part of the commission?
Thank you, Justice Markman. You have before you colleagues, and we have considered in preparation for this meeting the changes that are proposed, all in favor of accepting and amending the changes as presented. All in favor? Against, if any? Passed unanimously.
Also, we suggest introducing amendments and changes to the selection procedure for the High Qualifications Commission of Judges of Ukraine, Article 16, in which we have to say that any action that needs to be taken in Kyiv may be taken online or at any other place at the Commission's discretion. Also, we suggest to publish a new announcement on the selection process within the period accepted by us. And we suggest that in the course of the selection we don't have any check of the intelligence level and general skills of our candidates the way it is presupposed by our rules of procedure. Besides that, we suggest introducing the following changes: that if in the law on the status of judge, on the judiciary, the status of judges, there are some qualifications changes for the candidates, then at any time before the expiry of the period for application submission, the decision will be passed to change the qualifications requirements, and these changes will be introduced into the selection procedure. Also, we suggest making the changes that the interviews with the candidates and listening to any other people who may have important information for the candidate evaluation should be conducted in person or online in open hearings that will be broadcast. And besides that, we want to supplement our selection procedure in that if there are valid reasons, the Commission may change the period in order to simplify the procedure for the candidates, for mass media, and for the representatives of civil society, for them to have a chance to fully participate in the selection procedure. So I suggest voting for those changes.
Thank you, Judge Volanov. Members of the Commission, you have had before you and reviewed the regulations on the competitive selection of candidates that previously were approved by the Commission. I now present to you for consideration and your approval the amendment to the regulations on competitive selection. All in favor? Against? None? Unanimously approved. In terms of the the Selection Commission's documentation, some of the changes that have just been introduced to you and now approved by our commission have an impact upon the application for candidacy. And I am now going to turn to Judge Mizentsev in order to present those changes and the reasons for them.
Дякую, Теде.
Thank you, Ted. So, me and Robert were to work with the application form, and let me draw your attention, dear viewers, to the fact that for a long period of time, the problems with the restart of the work of our selection commission were caused by the fact that Ukraine didn't have access to the state registries that would determine availability of property of citizens in some other databases. Currently, the problem, due to the meeting of our members with some heads of the state authorities, has been overcome. And now, from the technical point of view, for the applicants, for the candidates, those who are willing to become candidates, for the members of the High Qualifications Commission of Judges of Ukraine will find it problematic to submit some documents. That's why, let me draw your attention, and Stephen has gone ahead of me already, and I would like to say that all the applications that were submitted during the initial start of our selection are valid, the same as the documents attached to those applications. The only thing is that even in February this year, we drew your attention to the fact that some of the document packages were not full. That's why I guess that the candidates will have a chance to both submit additional documents, and the Commission also reserves the right to demand from the candidates and from the state authorities some additional information to have as full a package of documents as possible. The applications that have been already submitted will be valid, and the application that will be submitted after the announcement comes about the restart of the selection procedure will be accepted within the period set by the Selection Commission. And let me draw your attention, dear viewers, to the fact that we have introduced some amendments into the annexes to the application form for the candidate to the High Qualifications Commission. In particular, the changes are related to declarations. I guess that the changes will be covered by me at our public and candidate education session that will take place at 2 p.m. Kiev time. But let me draw your attention to the fact that we are changing paragraph 5 of the annexes to the application, which used to indicate that a declaration on property has to be submitted over the period which is 1 year before the announcement of the competition, of the selection. But now we think that it should be the case that now, let me have a look at the document, announcement about the fact and the date of submission to the National Agency in Corruption Prevention of the declaration by a person authorized by the state to do this for 2021. Let me explain what I mean. So there is a need to print out, and every candidate can do this, can print out the declaration, but the declaration will contain a number of personal data which is not subject to disclosure. So to ensure convenient work of both the candidates and the Commission, we have decided to do it as follows. We are given the announcement, the statement about the very fact of submission of this declaration, and we will demand from the National Agency in Corruption Prevention the declaration itself. So we will make it simpler for the candidate. Besides that, we would like to introduce amendments to paragraph 13 of the annexes to the application form, in particular the ones related to the criminal record certificate submission. And at the education session, I will also tell you in detail what the causes and the problems with delays could be. Now, that's why it will be enough for the candidates just to make an announcement or the statement of the fact that they have never been brought to criminal account, that they are not under investigation now, and they don't have any unexpunged criminal record. We submitted those proposals for the consideration of the Commission, so if there are no additional remarks, because maybe Robert will have to add something on this point. Robert has entitled me to report on this. Thank you. So let me give the floor to Mr. Chairman, and if there are no additional questions, let us vote on this. I suggest voting.
Thank you, Judge Mezentsev. Colleagues, you have had before you the changes and amendments to the application form and annex. All of those of you in favor of those amendments and those changes, may I see your hands? Against, if any? None. Unanimously approved. We now come to a very important point in our official meeting, as has already been reported by my colleague, Judge Justice Mischenko. In the circumstances of the emergency created by the Russian invasion on February 24th, our commission suspended its operations, and that included the suspension of the application period for candidates. It is now necessary, as a result of the resumption approved by our commission of our operations, that there be an extension and reopening of the application period. The commission members have proposed that there be a resumption of the application period from July 15th, 2022 to and including midnight of August 22nd, 2022. I now present to you, colleagues, a resolution approving the open period for candidate applications beginning July 15th, 2022 until August 2022 at 12 o'clock a.m. All those in favor? Against, if any? Unanimously approved. The last item of business, viewers, prior to our motion of adjournment of this official meeting, is an announcement regarding the afternoon session of our commission meeting. It will be live streamed, as is this meeting. We have decided that it is very beneficial for all candidates, past and candidates considering future applications, to have a second orientation and information session for candidates. As Judge Mezentsev has already forecast, that will involve a review of the application form together with the Selection Commission process, procedures, and review. That will hopefully assist potential candidates in completing their applications. And I urge all of the potential candidates who are viewers to tune in for the orientation and information session, which will take place at 2 o'clock this afternoon, live streamed Kiev time. 2 o'clock Kiev time this afternoon. I should also point out that it will, of course, be important for candidates in making the applications that they do to consult the Commission's our commission's website on the High Council of Justice website, and of course we have our own website as well, where the new documents that were approved with amendments today are available, and that will include the new application form. So with that, colleagues, unless there is any other business? No. I hear none. I am open to a motion of adjournment. Colleagues, shall this meeting be adjourned? All in favor? Opposed, if any? Against? None. All right, we thank you very much, viewers. We hope that many of you will rejoin us at 2 o'clock Kiev time for the orientation and education session. Thank you for your attention.